Donald Trump is still in the business of throwing childish tantrums, this time unleashing the most pathetic attack so far on Florida governor, Trump's governor. Remember, Trump lives in Florida, on his own governor, Ron DeSantis. Donald Trump, desperate to find new ways to attack a guy who is defeating Trump in some polls, despite the fact that Ron DeSantis hasn't even said, I'm running for this thing. He's not even a candidate. And he is ahead of Trump significantly in some polls, including the most recent Monmouth poll. This genuinely has the potential to put the 2016 Republican Party to shame in terms of how humiliating and absurd this primary could be. Donald Trump, on the heels of this new Monmouth poll that has DeSantis beating him by 13, which we already talked about, has posted an attack on Ron DeSantis to his platform, Truth Social, in which he goes after Ron DeSantis for wearing a blue tie when he met with Trump in the Oval Office while Trump was president. Well, not exactly. Let's take a look at the post from Truth Social. Trump posting a picture where he is sitting there with Matt Gaetz and DeSantis. I forget who the guy is on the right. I feel so silly, but I forget who that is. And Ron DeSantis is wearing a blue tie. And Donald Trump says in his post, who is that in the blue tie being so nice to the president of the United States while in the Oval Office? Now, this is not actually about the tie color. This is about Trump pointing out, Ron DeSantis, who now says bad things about me, used to suck up to me. Now, of course, to all of us who understand how politics works, we understand that that's how politics works. You try to get close to power. If you're someone like Ron DeSantis, you want to go to the White House. Governors love going to the White House. So, of course, you're nice to Trump. But Trump simply can't help but try to find anything to attack DeSantis over. Recall that last week, he went after DeSantis for this picture in which DeSantis is with some allegedly high school aged girls who I guess he was teaching. He was the teacher of. And Trump posted, that's not Ron, is it? He would never do such a thing, referring to grooming high school girls with alcohol. Yeah. Meanwhile, in addition, Trump adding to the embarrassment by tweeting trash polls in response to the Monmouth poll, which has Trump down 13. Trump tweeting about a premise poll. If you haven't heard of Premise as a pollster, they're not even serious enough to be rated by 538. That one has Trump up 30 points. That seems a little bit difficult to believe. And Trump also posting a link to a Breitbart poll, which isn't even a poll. It's just a favorability poll. It's not an actual 2024 poll. It is all completely pathetic. And this is going to be an insane primary. Now, I want to, I've been wanting to do this for a little bit. I want to kind of frame the next 21 months for you. If you have read Neil Postman's book, Amusing Ourselves to Death, I know many of you will think, David, you're not going to quote Technopoly again, are you? No, this is an earlier book by Neil Postman. It's called Amusing Ourselves to Death. Postman wrote this book in the mid-'80s. I think it was in 85. And what Postman argued was that if we're going to do a serious analysis of television, and remember in the mid-'80s, things were moving from sort of a print medium dramatically more towards a visual medium, television. One of the things that Neil Postman talked about is it's not just about the content of television. It's about the fact that television frames all issues as having to be or needing to be entertaining. Sesame Street, which is a great program, right? Sesame Street still implicitly is telling us learning should be entertaining. And it devalues more difficult forms of learning that aren't entertaining, but require a different type of thought. And one of the things that has become true, not only in the era of television, but you could take Neil Postman's 85 analysis and make it in 2023 when it comes to social and online media. One of the things that has become a reality is that there is this expectation that the format of how we get news today, Twitter and the way TV news is produced and online news as well. Okay, I'm part of this. We now believe politics should also be entertaining. Debates should be entertaining. And that's why primary debates and presidential debates have these 1-minute answers and 30-second rebuttals, 15-second rebuttals. It's not to actually learn anything about the candidates. In fact, it prevents us from learning about the candidates. There are other ways to learn about the candidates. It tells us politics should be entertaining. These things should be entertaining. And so, in a sense, I am part of this. My goal is to work within the formats that are available to reach as many people as possible and tell them, hey, there are better ways to think through who we're going to vote for and learn. Okay, so what's the point of me telling you this? One of the things that we really have to think about as we go from now into the primaries and into the general election is that to really figure out who we should be voting for, what policies would be better for the country, all these different things, you have to exit the world of where it all needs to be entertaining. The unfortunate reality is, and we're going to talk about the strategy later or probably tomorrow, in order to defeat Trump, and this is the point I'm building to, in order to defeat Trump, Ron DeSantis has to do some of the things Trump does well. He has to be entertaining. He has to attack Trump. He has to be titillating and salacious. And Ron DeSantis is going to have to figure out how. It is a horrible thing that, on the one hand, we know that all of this is terrible for the country. The fact that this is how a Republican primary is going to be fought, who can come up with the slickest insults in the entire thing. I would love to change that. I can't change that. And so when we are thinking through how Republicans are going to choose their nominee, Democrats to a degree, the same thing. But if Biden runs, they're not really going to be choosing. It's going to be Biden. It's going to come down to who can make their campaign as entertaining and titillating as possible. Not who can propose the best policy on healthcare. Not who can lay out the most sober and sensible foreign policy. It doesn't make a difference. What matters is, can you compartmentalize it, make it a snippet, and make it as entertaining as possible? And that is how politics is done. And it's a sad and horrible thing. And we're going to be looking at this election through that lens. I'm going to do everything I can to really try to do that, because I think it has to be done. All right, let's take a quick break. We have many other things to talk about coming up in mere moments. One of our sponsors is private internet access. Most apps and websites send tons of your personal information to tech companies and data brokers based on your IP address. They have a disturbingly accurate understanding of who you are and what you do online, even when you're using incognito mode. But you can put an end to it by using a VPN. The only one I use is private internet access because it's the only VPN that is proven in court multiple times. They are not logging your activity. Their no-log practices are even independently audited by Deloitte. Private internet access also hides your activity from your internet service provider, who is also usually logging everything you do online. Private internet access is also lightning fast for downloads and streaming content normally only available in other countries. Private internet access couldn't be more simple. Take a second to download it, turn it on, that's it. You don't need to know anything about computers. Go to piavpn.com/Pacman to get 83% off. That's only $203 a month, and you'll get 4 months free. The link is down below.